Now, on January the 4th, 1985, Kim Cotton became the UK's first publicly known surrogate mother when she gave birth to baby Cotton. A media storm followed when it was revealed that Kim had been paid £6,500 by an American agency to carry the baby for a childless couple. It led to the introduction of the Surrogacy Arrangement Act. This banned commercial surrogacy and only allowed for the payment of legitimate expenses. Well, Kim Cotton went on to set up COTS, Childlessness Overcome Through Surrogacy, in 1988, which gives help and advice to surrogates and childless couples in the UK. And she joins us this morning along with the fertility law expert Natalie Gamble. But Kim, I want to take you back now 30 years to begin with, because that decision to act as a surrogate has in many ways defined your life. Did it feel like a momentous step 30 years ago?
I had no idea really what would sort of come after the birth. I really did genuinely going into it thinking this was something I could do quietly at home, and my life would be unaffected because I was raising young children myself, and I thought this is something I can do. Because childcare is very expensive. I wanted to be at home, so I thought this was lovely to share a pregnancy with a couple who couldn't have children. I've been very blessed in my life. We had our 2 children without even thinking about it. We planned them, of course, but it was easy for me. I'm very fertile. Birth was easy. It wasn't a problem at all.
And so the sort of media firestorm that followed, the story went public, then you talked to a newspaper. Is it that very vivid still in your mind?
Well, the agency boss had asked me to do a panorama programme incognito with a wig on and stupid thing that I agreed to, and of course that started the media trying to find me, and it was only because I lived next door to journalists that they helped me sign up to a newspaper, because the publicity was already going. It was only a matter of time before I was found. So rather than have the media all after me, at least you get protection from your own newspaper. But anyone who's dealt with newspapers knows that once you sell your story, you are literally a commodity, and you sell your soul in a funny sort of way.
You have been on the programme before and talked about it, and we don't want to rake over everything that happened 30 years ago, Kim, but I'm just wondering about what your feelings are now about the whole experience.
Well, I have put it in a box and shut the door very firmly, really. I very, very rarely talk about surrogacy nowadays. I'm sort of being forced out of retirement now
with the anniversary. And also, I think I'm going to, I'm acting chairperson of COTS now, so I'm coming back to run COTS in June. I'm acting chairperson at the moment. But I have no regrets. At the end of the day, I have still helped an infertile couple. My only regret is I don't know who they were, and I don't know where she is. You've had no contact since?
No contact, and that to me is the painful part.
Well, let's talk about the whole difficult and tricky aspect of the legal aspect of surrogacy, because Natalie, what was the situation in 1985 when Kim gave birth to baby Cotton?
Well, there really was no law in place for these kinds of arrangements, and it was the birth of baby Cotton that kind of prompted a rushing through of legislation in 1985. And the object of that law was really to put a stop on surrogacy in its tracks and stop it developing as a common practice. So we get the law that bans brokers from arranging surrogacy as third parties, and we get the law that bans advertising. So all of that is about trying to stop parents and surrogates making contact with each other. So then a few years later, there are also some rules introduced about parenthood, and this was tied up with kind of wider changes to the law to do with egg donation. But that's the origins of the law that says that the surrogate and her husband are the legal parents of any child that's born through surrogacy and not the intended parents. And that law also makes any surrogacy agreements that are entered into unenforceable. So the law, if you like, which was prompted by the baby Cotton story, was very much about making surrogacy a risky business and discouraging it from happening. There is a remedy in the law so that if parents do manage to find a surrogate and go through an arrangement, they can apply to become the legal parents, but it's done kind of very retrospectively, and there are lots and lots of problems with that system.
And now I'm confused just listening to all of that, Natalie. You're a practitioner who works in this field of law. Is it satisfactory at the moment?
Absolutely not. I mean, it's quite astonishing, really, that there hasn't been a review of the law since 1985. But meanwhile, kind of the world of surrogacy has changed massively. So, if the object of those laws was to stop surrogacy developing, it just didn't happen. I mean, what's happened instead is that surrogacy has grown up in a very informal and unregulated way. So it's a bit of a wild west, if you like, alongside a fertility sector, which is otherwise very commercialised and very heavily regulated. So in the UK, you don't have kind of professional agencies in the way that you do in the States. There are a small handful of non-profit agencies, so COTS, Brilliant Beginnings and Surrogacy UK, but they can't meet the demand of the numbers of intended parents that need surrogates. So lots of people are matching via Facebook groups and internet forums. Payments for surrogacy are rife, and they're not illegal, and they go on all the time. But the other thing that's happening is because it's such a kind of murky, uncertain world in the UK, the vast majority of parents are now going overseas to access other countries where surrogacy is offered on a commercial and organised basis. And you're looking at probably 95% of cases now where children are born outside the UK.
Kim, you were involved with COTS at the start. You stepped back a bit. You said you're just about to get involved again. Do you feel that parents wanting to go through surrogacy in this country need more protection?
We need a framework. It's very much DIY. COTS has come an awful long way in the time that we've been established. And, we do have a framework involved, but it's all voluntary stuff. It's a lot of trust on both sides. For the surrogate, trusting that the couple will take the baby at the end of it, and for the couple hoping that the surrogate is going to relinquish the baby to them. And I have to say, up to date we've had about 985 births, and we have a lot of success now, and it has come out of the gutter, I think, where it started. So we have come a long way, but not far enough.
But things do go wrong, don't they, Natalie? Because there was a recent case of an Australian couple backing out when one twin that the surrogate was carrying for them was found to have Downs. They would only take the other twin. Can you ever legislate against such things?
Well, I think the
people
problem,
changing their minds.
I mean, these are kind of human arrangements, and there will be a small number of cases in which things may go wrong. But at the moment, the system is set up to almost encourage that rather than discourage it. And what we need is more support for parents and surrogates at the beginning of the process, so that they're, given the right information, the right medical advice, the right legal advice, the right counselling. They're encouraged to think through all the potential issues, and that will minimise the problems that are likely to arise. The way it works in the States, for example, is that there's a very rigorous process at the start. So before people even go into an arrangement, they're made to think through all these issues, and they then put in place a contract between them which sets things out very clearly. And that is the mechanism by which the intended parents become the legal parents. And as long as everyone agrees, it means that the presumption is then the right way round. So the right people are the parents, the people who are taking the child from birth and are intending to be the parents throughout. And that's the way we would like to see it work in the UK as well.
Do you think it could ever become mainstream? Have attitudes changed that much, Natalie?
Yes.
Yeah.
Kim?
I think we're both in agreement that they really have. And, experience has shown that very, very few arrangements go wrong in the sense that the surrogate changes her mind. Most arrangements are really positive. The parents get to be parents that would never have otherwise been. For the surrogate, it's a really empowering experience to be able to help someone else.
And Kim, can I just ask you finally and briefly, as this 30th anniversary approaches on Sunday, what are your thoughts for that baby somewhere in the world?
Yes, it's a very, very strange feeling. I every year I think about her on this day. Obviously, it's her birthday, and it is with a little bit of a pang, and I do get a bit of a pain in my heart about it. I would love to have had the joy of seeing the couple receive the child, which is what surrogates get now. Anonymous surrogacy is absolutely a disgusting practice.
Okay, there we should have to leave it. But Kim Cotton and Natalie Gamble, thank you both very much indeed.